Hey guys, this is James again, and I wanted to continue this series speaking about Global X's covered call ETFs, and in this video we're going to talk about XYLG. This is their S&P 500 covered call and growth fund, and we're going to see how much it takes of XYLG to be able to get $100,000 a year in dividend income. Divide that by 12 and you're probably sitting around $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 a month. So this is the fund stats here, like in our other videos. And then our annual dividend payout is $1.42, where it comes to be about 12 cents per month. And then we'll go ahead and do the 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, and $1 million initial deposit, and then we'll bring it back down to $1,000 with starting to add a little bit of the monthly addition and then see what we get. So let's head over to Global X's website and take a peek at their XYLG page. Again, their reasons to consider XYLG is their high income potential, their upside potential, because only 50% of the call, 50% of the portfolio they write options on, and the other 50% is allowed to grow. And then they have that highly coveted monthly dividend distribution. So if we take a look at their holdings, we can see that some of the most popular companies out there in the S&P 500 are a large part of their S&P 500 portfolio. Let's head over to Seeking Alpha, check out some of the data just to confirm that we have it in our spreadsheet. So as of right now, the year-over-year, 1 year growth is about 18%. The fund was only started in September 2020, and since then it has gone from $24 per share up to about $32 per share. So we might play around with this number a little bit here, this 18-19%. Obviously not every year is gonna in the stock market is gonna perform like 2021. So we might cut this in half to be more like the XYLG fund. I believe that was closer to 9% growth. So the yield for this fund is 4.2%. That's the dividend yield, which should come out to about $1.36 per year. So if we look at their history again, the fund started in September 2020. Their first dividend payment was October, and their payout has been about 13 cents. Well, it looks like it started at 13 cents and then it's rounded out to be about 10, 11, 12 cents per dividend payout. So let's go ahead and go. I would eventually like to go over to my other spreadsheet and compare XYLG to VOOG. But before we do that, let's just take a look at the numbers here and see how much it would take to get $100,000 in dividends. So if we put $1,000 in XYLG on our short-term graph here, after 10 years, we would have, with dividends reinvested, $7,500. Now that's $1,000 without touching it, letting it sit in your brokerage account. After 50 years, again, because of the beauty of compound interest, if you are 30 years old, when you're 80, that $1,000 will have turned into 24 million. So let's take a look over here at the dividend. Actually, no, let's go back. Let's go ahead and see what it would be if we had $10,000. Our $10,000 would turn into $75,000 after 10 years. $100,000 would be $754,000, and then just by basic math, $1 million should be about $7.5 million after 10 years. Let's go back down to 1,000. That should be good enough to show us how much we need to be able to have $100,000 a year in dividends. So we come over to when dividends are not reinvested and when they are reinvested. Take a look in column M, our dividend column, every year. So this is the 10th year. We will have gotten $266 with dividends reinvested after 10 years if we just deposited $1,000. After 20 years, after 30 years, and then here is our $100,000 mark at year 40. But how much does that take? If you owned all XYLG, it looks like it'll take somewhere between 2.6 and 3.2 million. So you're probably sitting around 2.9 million to be able to have $100,000 in dividend payout with XYLG. So let's say you really wanted to add XYLG to your portfolio. If you had an initial deposit of $5,000 and you were able to put $100 a month in, after 10 years, that will turn to $75,000 with dividends reinvested. If it's your $100 a month went into your bank account, you would have after 10 years about $17,000. So that's a pretty significant difference to be able to put your money, extra money, into the stock market with XYLG than it would be to be putting it in your bank. If you are a little bit more aggressive and you did what Dave Ramsey said and do about 15% of your salary, that could come up to be about $500 a month for some of you with let's say an initial deposit of simply $1,000. Your investment of $500 a month at $1,000 initial principal, 18% growth rate with these fund stats would get you about, after 10 years, $200,000. Let's go over and compare this XYLG with one of my favorite Vanguard S&P 500 growth funds. These are the fund stats for VOOG. The fund share price is sitting at $305. The dividend yield is 0.54%, but their expense ratio is much less. And then their dividend payout is quarterly. So every quarter you get 41 cents. Every year you get $1.65. That's about what the average is going to be. And this is all of the XYLG stats. We're going to keep the initial deposit the same. XYLG, it was 18%, but remember the fund is only a year old. So I would not expect 18% with a 4.32% dividend payout per share as long as VOOG has been experiencing an 18% growth rate. Let's head over to Vanguard's website, or first let's check out Seeking Alpha data. They're sitting at $305 per share. This is where I got their dividend yield and their dividend rate. Over the past year, their growth has been 32%. The past 5 years, 172%. In the past 10 years, this fund has only gone up. So it has a lot of history behind it. That's why I like this fund, and I'm personally invested in Vanguard's S&P 500 fund. You go over to their website, and they have a page on Vanguard.com that explains the entire Vanguard S&P 500 Growth ETF, VOOG. I was able to get a lot of the information from this page, and it is their 4 out of 5 or 80% more risk, however, more reward. So let's go back over to the calculator. This has been a consistent growth year over year for 10 years plus. So we have seen in the past year it was 32%, but it's been a very bullish year this year. So we'll go a more conservative 25%. Say we have a good year at the end of 22. Let's say VOOG increased 25%, and let's say XYLG continued its run just like it did in 2021 at 18%. Your VOOG will have outgrown XYLG. Here is the comparison. So after 10 years, you will have had $2,000 more, almost $2,000 more dollars in VOOG with just an initial deposit of $1,000. Let's say you were to put $500 each a month in both funds. VOOG is still going to outperform. Let's say we had another excellent year for VOOG and it matched this year. Let's say it was another 32%. In December 2022, let's expect another 32% compared to this year. And let's say XYLG performed excellent again this year with the same dividend payout, with the same annual growth rate. VOOG is definitely the fund that you are going to want to go with. If you guys enjoyed that, hit that like button. And if you guys want to see more funds analyzed like this, subscribe to the channel. Head down to the comments. Let me know what funds you guys want to see. And if you want to be able to do this yourself, I do have access to both of these workbooks on Patreon.com. So head over to Patreon.com and download the workbook. I think I have them listed for about $3 a month. You can purchase it, cancel the subscription. You can have the book for just $3. However, if you want every update that I come out, if you want to be able to stay up to date to the books as I continue to add to these workbooks, you might want to stay subscribed on Patreon. As of right now, I'm looking to be able to add a little bit more features, or how much I need to hold of Fund 1 and Fund 2 to be able to have 100, 500, 1,000, 5,000. I want to be able to calculate that automatically with these yellow inputs. I'm also working on a really in-depth calculator where you can take multiple funds in an entire portfolio. You can change the holding percentage to where you could have more of one fund than the other. Make sure it all equals to 0%. So let's say we want 25% QYLD, 75% RYLD. Then you will be able to start to build your own portfolio and start to put in your own expected average growth rate, and then be able to see how much you will have in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, and 25 years. Stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.